In this video, I'm going to share with you a property market update, April 2021. I'm going to share with you what's happening in the property market right now, what we think is going to happen based on all the macro and microeconomic factors happening in the UK property market right now. I'm also going to consider why has the property market not crashed in 2021 and will the property market crash in 2021? So my name is Simon Zutshi. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network, which is the largest network of investors all around the UK. I've been investing since 1995 and I've been teaching other people like you to become successful investors since 2003. Now, understanding what's happening in the market is really important. It's good to consider what's going on, but I'm also going to share with you a little bit of content from Property Magic because a lot of people often wonder, is now a good time to invest? And I believe that now is always a good time to invest. It would have been better 20 years ago, but if you missed that, now's a good time as long as you know what you're doing. Now, we live in the UK, which is a very popular place to live. And I always say that we have an increasing population and we have not enough accommodation. So the long-term property prices will continue to go up. But because it's a market, obviously it's cyclical. Prices come up and they come down. And a lot of people try and spend a lot of time trying to work out, well, let's buy at the bottom, sell at the top, which is a concept that comes from the world of stock market investing. It's much easier in the stock market because obviously we can chart things, there are patterns. A lot of things come in and affect the property market that we have no control over. So back last year in 2020, obviously when the COVID-19 pandemic first hit and we had the first national lockdown in March 2020, the property market just stopped completely. You know, for 10, 12 weeks, you couldn't do anything. The estate agents were all shut, the solicitors are closed, the lenders were closed, it was chaos. And I was remortgaging 3 properties and buying a property at that time. And immediately after lockdown finished, I had a number of surveys done and the valuers massively downvalued the property saying, oh, we don't know what's going to happen because of COVID. And the Bank of England put out something saying, oh my God, we think that prices are going to drop 16% in this year because of the effect of the recession and because of COVID pandemic. So the government, the UK government stepped in with 2 major bits of intervention that's really propped up the market and resulted in a mini boom at the end of 2020, an unexpected boom, and also into 2021. So what were those? Well, there was the introduction of the Furlough Scheme, where people who might have otherwise been made unemployed, millions and millions of people went onto furlough, where they were getting 80% of their salary. Now that was supposed to happen until July 2020, then it was extended to October 2020, then out to 2021, March, April, and now it's been extended in March. There was the announcement by the Chancellor to say it's going to go to September 2021. That, I think, has helped keep the market going with the fact they introduced the stamp duty holiday. Now, we're now in April 2020, and the stamp duty holiday was supposed to finish at the end of March 2021. The Chancellor announced at the beginning of March they were going to extend the stamp duty holiday. Now, what he said was, for properties up to 500,000, they would extend it for 3 months until the end of June. Now, the reality is, if someone buys a property right now in April, all the solicitors are still very, very busy. It's unlikely they're going to be able to get that transaction through before the end of June. So if people are buying properties up to 500,000, you know, it probably won't help them. Now, after that, for another 3 months, so up until September 2021, there is the stamp duty holiday, but for purchase up to 250,000. Now that's about the average house price in the UK. Maybe it's gone up over the last year a little bit from that, but realistically, most people around the country who are buying, who are going to benefit from the stamp duty holiday the most, are going to be first-time buyers, and that's within their price bracket. So I think at the lower end of the market, below 250,000 for first-time buyers, they've got until September, and I think we will see that end of the market probably still quite strong. The higher end is probably going to drop off a little bit, but you know what? What happens if the bottom of the market's stimulated? That has a knock-on effect on the next level up, because you might have someone who's got a smaller house, they're selling that property, and I think there'll be good demand for that right now. They upscale to a bigger property, maybe they want a bit more space, maybe they're having a new kid in the family, for that reason they need more space, and so when one part of the market does quite well, it has a knock-on effect on the rest of the market. So I anticipate, although the stamp duty holiday only is up until the end of June for the £500,000 properties, and then up to the end of September for the £250,000 properties, I think because of the bottom of the market being stimulated, I think the whole market will actually do quite well until that finishes in September 2021. Now that's the date when furlough is also supposed to end, so it's going to be really interesting to see when the stamp duty holiday is gone and if furlough is also taken away, what's going to happen. Well, I think we're going to see in this summer probably a bit of a boom in the economy because you've got a lot of people who've got money, they've sat at home, they've not been able to go out and spend money they'd normally spend, they've probably got more in the bank than they've ever had before. Also, as the country opens up, we come on this plan to get out of lockdown. I think people are going to go out, they're going to spend money on retail, on leisure. So I think in the summer there's going to be this bit of a mini boom, especially if it's nice weather. Everyone's going to want to get out and do stuff. Most of the population, adults, are going to be vaccinated by the end of July, so that's really going to help the economy. However, you've got many businesses who have just not had enough revenue coming in. And although the Chancellor's introduced loans to help support businesses in leisure and retail, I don't think it's going to be enough to sustain the business. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that these businesses are going to come back, they're going to thrive in the summer, and they're going to be able to survive moving forward. But I'm worried that that's not going to happen for many businesses. I'm worried when furlough ends, we're going to see potentially millions of people at the end of this year get made unemployed. So what effect do you think that's going to have on the economy? What effect is that going to have on the sentiment of the market? And my belief is that actually, we're going to have to see prices come down. Now, is it the end of 2021 when property prices crash? Or maybe not crash but dip, or is it into 2022? I just don't know. And frankly, I was wrong last year because I thought when furlough was going to end in October, we were going to see prices come down at the end of 2020. Now, I was wrong about that because obviously furlough was extended into 2021. So who knows if it's going to happen again? What I do know is the government is spending so much money, £280 billion already spent. And that was the figure in March. By the time we get to September, it's going to be far more than that. My question is, how long can the government keep propping up the economy and the UK housing market? Now, the reason they're doing it is because the housing sector is very, very important to the UK economy. But really, is it wise to short-term be spending all this money, which we as taxpayers are going to have to pay for? I think the Chancellor in his budget did a great job actually in March. It could have been a lot worse for us as property investors, but I think we kind of got off the hook lightly compared to what it could be. But in future years, we are going to see taxation increase in all areas of life, and we're going to end up paying for this. Also, we're going to see inflation. With all this money being printed and put into the economy, we can't buy as much for our money as we used to, so things are going to go up in price. Now that's good for us as property investors. That will help rents go up, it will cause general property price to go up, so this is all going to stimulate the market. And in fact, inflation, which is bad for most people, is good for us as an investor because we borrow money. Let's say we borrow £150,000 on a property for 20 years. So we borrow the money now, in 20 years time we've got to pay that £150,000 back. We might just pay interest on the mortgage in the meantime. Now, in 20 years time, that property will have probably doubled and maybe doubled again in value because they do say that every 10 years in the UK, on average, property prices double. Now, please listen carefully. That is an average. I'm not saying every 10 years that happens. I'm not saying it happens everywhere. But if you take the whole market, on average, that's what's happened. If you don't believe me, go and check it yourself. Go and do a Google search for land registry house prices for the last 60 years. Up will come all these tables. You can work it out yourself. And that has been the trend. Now, just because it's happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. But because we live on this island with a limited amount of accommodation, generally prices are going to go up. Short term, we've seen a bit of a dip in the numbers in our population because we've had obviously a number of people unfortunately pass away early because of COVID, many more than that would normally happen. through a kind of a flu or infection like that. And also we have lost some people because we've left the country and Brexit. We've lost some people who've gone back to where they originally come from, wherever that is in Europe. So although we've had a slight dip, we still have an increasing birth rate and we have longer life expectancy. So after a while, that will correct itself and the population will come back. So what does this mean for you? Should you be buying property right now? Should you be waiting? What should you be doing in the UK property market in 2021? Well, my view is this. If you follow the 5 golden rules in property magic, then if you find a good deal right now, buy the deal. Is there a chance it might be worth more in 12 months? Yes. Is there a chance it might come down in 12 months? Yes. But if you follow the 5 golden rules, it doesn't really matter. So just a quick recap on the golden rules. Golden rule number 1, we always buy from motivated sellers. Now, it's harder to find motivated sellers in a booming market, but they are absolutely out there. And I've done a separate video all about how you can buy below market value in a booming market. You might want to go and check that video out. Rule number 2, we buy in an area with strong rental demand. That means that we can always rent this property out to someone. If the current tenants move, we can quickly and easily replace it with some new tenants. Golden rule number 3, we always buy for cash flow. Whenever you buy an investment property, it must make money every single month. That's after the mortgage, the insurance, the maintenance, the management fees. There must be cash left over for you every month. Otherwise, do not buy it. It's not a good investment. It's more of a speculation, hoping the value will go up long term. It must make money every single month. Golden rule number 4 is we buy for the long term. Look, you can make money short term in property. I've certainly done that in the past. Maybe you have as well. But it's holding property for the long term. That's where you create the real, true wealth generation. And finally, golden rule number 5, we must have a cash buffer. Some money put aside to cover the unexpected things that might happen. So if your property is damaged and it's not covered by insurance, you can get it fixed, get it quickly rented out to get more cash coming in. Now, if you think about those golden rules, number 2, 3, 4, buy in an area of strong rental demand, get positive cash flow and hold for long term. If you follow those 3 rules in particular, it doesn't matter if you buy now and in 12 months it's slightly less. It doesn't mean you've lost any money because the value's down. As long as you can rent it, it's making cash flow, you just hold for the long term until the price recovers. So I believe now is always a good time to buy as long as you know what you're doing, educate yourself. You could do that by watching all of the videos on this channel. There's a huge amount of videos here. So why not make sure you subscribe to this channel to make sure you always get this content. Click on the like button as well. Put some comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about my prediction for the property market April 2021. And I look forward to sharing with you in the next video. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. See you in the next video. I do hope you got massive value from watching this YouTube video. I'd encourage you to click on the link below to come and do the online training with me. And I've got another video lined up for you, which I think is also going to be really useful that you should watch once you've registered for the online training with me. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon.